artificial, system online.
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome back to the Deep Dive, which is, of course, part of our comprehensive Surviving AI curriculum. I'm your host, here to help guide you through the raw data that's really shaping the future of work.
And I'm here to connect those dots, to take that data and translate it into concrete economic strategies that you can actually start thinking about, well, today.
In our last Deep Dive, episode 4, we called it Data Scientists, Lawyers, and Accountants, Why Knowledge Workers Are Screwed. And we spent a lot of time there really analyzing the, let's call it the negative side of the AI equation.
The displacement side.
Exactly. We looked at how these highly paid knowledge worker jobs are being, eliminated from the top down, and the fear that's sweeping through professional services.
And today, we're going to flip the script entirely. We have to look at the structural flip side of that displacement, which I would argue is the single most critical area for anyone trying to navigate this revolution.
Which is?
The core insight is this. AI isn't just killing traditional jobs. It is, at the very same time, fueling the biggest entrepreneurship boom in history.
And that's the paradox, isn't it? That's what feels so counterintuitive.
It does.
If AI is so good at eliminating all this white-collar work, how can it also be the engine for massive business creation? It feels like a contradiction.
But it's not. It's actually the clearest sign we've seen yet that the entire economic landscape has been turned on its head. It's a structural phase change.
And the sources you brought in today, we've got major reports from OpenAI and IBM, plus these extensive entrepreneurship surveys from Shopify, Squarespace, and Thrive. This gives us the blueprint, right?
A very precise blueprint for navigating this transition. Our mission today is to get into the mechanics of this boom.
Okay.
We need to identify what specific tools, and we're going to talk a lot about AI agents are driving it, what types of, agile AI native businesses are winning this race, and critically, what is this urgent 24 to 36 month window that every aspiring entrepreneur needs to exploit right now?
That window, that's the key.
Yeah, it's the whole game to gain foundational leverage.
Because here's the hook for you, the learner, listening to this. This is not some slow, gradual shift. You can't afford to wait 5 years to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
We are talking about a binary choice, and it's happening right now. You're either adapting, you're learning these tools, and using them to build something new and competitive.
Or you're becoming obsolete. You're becoming part of the old structure that's about to be disrupted. It's that simple.
And we're going to show you the hard data, the numbers that back up this dramatic widening gap between the AI adopters and the AI resistors. So let's start with the sheer scale of this transformation.
Right. When we try to grasp the scale of this economic earthquake, you just have to start with the money. You follow the money.
Always.
This isn't a slow burn. It's not an emerging trend. It is a financial tsunami hitting the global economy, and it's a huge signal for where the next generation of business success is going to be built.
We've got projections here that AI spending, just globally, is forecast to break every single record in 2025. It could surpass $500 billion.
$500 billion.
In a single year. Think about that number. That amount of capital pouring into one ecosystem. It fundamentally redefines what's possible.
And that capital is incredibly concentrated. The venture capital realignment is, frankly, staggering.
So break that down.
Total global investment in the AI sector reached $202.3 billion in 2025.
Okay.
That is a massive 75% increase from the $114 billion recorded just in 2024. A 75% jump in 1 year.
Wow.
But here's the metric that should really grab your attention. AI now accounts for 50%, half of total global startup funding.
Up from what?
Up from 34% just a year prior. So in 12 months, it went from a third of all VC money to half of all VC money.
Half of all the available venture capital on the planet is rushing exclusively toward AI-enabled startups.
That's the signal. That concentration of capital tells you exactly where the power and the innovation are directed.
But I have to ask the question on behalf of the listener, the solo founder, the person with an idea. Isn't that concentration? The U.S. accounts for 79% of the funding. The Bay Area alone is sucking up $122 billion. Isn't this just going to make big tech richer?
Right.
How does the small business owner, the person in Ohio or France, get a piece of that action?
That is a critical question, and the sources show a really clear answer. while the investment is highly concentrated.
Geographically, you mean?
Yes, geographically and on core model development. The impact, however, is distributed globally, and that's because of the second massive shift, the democratization of enterprise power.
Okay, democratization of enterprise power. Let's visualize that. What does that mean in practice?
Historically, let's say you were a massive corporation, a logistics giant, a major bank.
Walmart, Amazon.
Exactly. You could afford the sophisticated custom-built tools for, predictive demand forecasting, complex supply chain management, high-level risk modeling. These things were exclusively for the giants.
Because they cost millions?
Tens of millions. They required huge infrastructure, dedicated data science teams. Now, AI tools are democratizing these once inaccessible enterprise-grade features.
So give me an example.
A small e-commerce business running on Shopify can now access sophisticated inventory prediction software for maybe a few $100s a month.
Wow.
A 3-person marketing startup can use agents for robust financial modeling and hyper-personalized marketing campaigns that were just, completely impossible for a small team 5 years ago.
So the solo founder isn't building the foundational AI model themselves?
No, of course not.
But they are suddenly able to leverage its power to operate like a Fortune 500 company. That analytical horsepower is suddenly available to anyone with a credit card.
And that access is causing a massive surge in small business adoption. Numbers are clear. Current AI usage among small businesses, or SMBs, it jumped from 39% in 2024 to 55% in 2025.
A 41% increase in just 1 year.
That's not gradual growth. That is a competitive sprint. Everyone is running to get this advantage.
And what's fascinating to me is that the SMBs themselves are totally aware of this. A survey from Squarespace revealed that 65% of entrepreneurs believe AI will specifically help them compete with much larger established brands.
They see it as the great equalizer. It neutralizes the legacy advantages of size and, entrenched infrastructure.
The transformation is truly fundamental, and we see it reflected in the hard numbers, the measurable financial metrics.
We do. Businesses that are fully integrating AI report, on average, a 40% productivity gain.
40%.
And 37% lower operational costs. We can't just gloss over those numbers. They aren't marginal improvements. They are transformative.
Okay, let's stop on that. 40% productivity gain. What does that actually look like on the ground? How is a small business suddenly 40% more effective?
It's about the elimination of what I call administrative drag. Think about a small B2B services firm, maybe 5 employees.
Okay.
That 40% gain comes from AI handling all initial client intake and qualification. It comes from automating calendar scheduling and, more importantly, rescheduling.
Like a bane of everyone's existence.
The worst. It's generating the initial contract drafts, it's managing the invoicing cycles, it's conducting complex data analysis on client results that used to take a junior analyst 3 full days.
So when an AI agent handles all of that, the human employee or the solo founder?
They are liberated. They can spend 100% of their time on high-value, creative, client-facing work, the stuff that actually grows the business.
And the 37% lower operational cost. That just means these AI-forward businesses can simply undercut their competitors.
Absolutely. If you can deliver the same quality service for 37% less, the AI resistor doesn't stand a chance in the long run. Their business model is just fundamentally broken by comparison.
The real-world data from OpenAI on worker impact confirms this. It's not just a business-level gain, it's personal. Enterprise users are reporting they save 40 to 60 minutes per day.
Per day. That adds up to hundreds of hours of reclaimed time over a year.
But more critically, 75% of these users report being able to complete entirely new technical tasks. Things like complex data analysis, even coding, that they were completely incapable of doing before.
And that capability expansion is the real game changer. It's not just about doing your old job faster.
Right.
It means a marketing specialist can suddenly execute their own full-stack web development request without needing to hire an expensive engineer or wait in a long IT queue. AI fundamentally expands your professional skill set.
And the data shows a really direct correlation here. The more you use it, the more you get out of it.
A very direct correlation. Workers who report saving more than 10 hours per week, so the super users.
Yeah.
They are using approximately 8 times more credits or intelligence consumed than those who report saving 0 hours.
Let's pause there because we need to define that for the listener. What exactly is an AI credit?
A credit is it's essentially a unit of computational power. It's a measure of how much AI time or intelligence a user is buying or consuming from the system.
So when we see a user consuming 8x more credits.
It means they're engaging with the AI at a far deeper, more complex level. They aren't just using it for a single quick prompt like, write me an email.
They're doing more.
So much more. They are utilizing multiple models. They're engaging with advanced features like deep research, which requires querying numerous sources, or utilizing what the industry sometimes calls GPT-5 thinking, which is running advanced reasoning and multi-step problem solving. This confirms that the path to massive gains isn't light usage, it's deep systematic integration.
Okay, so that sets the stage. The scale is massive, the gains are real. Now let's get under the hood. What is the specific technology that's powering this surge? Because it's clearly far beyond a simple chatbot.
It is. It's the rise of the AI agent. And we have to be really clear on this fundamental difference.
Let's define it. What is an AI agent?
An AI agent is a software program that can act autonomously. It understands a goal, it formulates a plan, and then it executes complex, multi-step tasks on its own.
So less of a tool, more of a digital teammate.
That's the perfect way to think of it. They are AI assistants on steroids.
So if I'm using ChatGPT, which is a chatbot, what is the technical distinction that makes an agent so much more powerful for my business?
Okay, there are 3 key functional areas that make all the difference. The first is planning.
Planning.
A chatbot just responds to a single prompt. An agent takes a high-level request like, analyze our last quarter's sales data, find the weakest product line, and draft a corrective marketing strategy. And it breaks that down into sequential, executable steps without any more human intervention.
It makes its own to-do list, basically.
A very smart to-do list. The second key difference is tool calling.
Cool calling.
Agents can use external tools. They don't just generate text. They can interact with APIs, with databases, with your CRM system, your accounting software. The industry calls this function calling.
So it can actually go do things.
It can literally pull sales figures from your Salesforce account, analyze them in a Python script it writes itself, and then use a marketing API to draft an email campaign, all autonomously.
And the third area, which you mentioned is crucial for business operations, persistent memory.
Exactly. Unlike traditional chatbots that sort of have amnesia between sessions, agents maintain persistent memory. They capture and store information about your specific business rules, your past client interactions, your historical decisions.
And even they learn?
They learn your business patterns over time. They become more valuable and more knowledgeable the longer you use them. That capability is the secret sauce that makes the one-person unicorn possible.
And we're seeing these sophisticated agents being integrated at the enterprise level at a shocking speed. This isn't a novelty anymore.
No, this is core infrastructure now. The data from OpenAI is it's very clear. Enterprise usage is not just accelerating, it's deepening. Weekly users of custom GPTs and projects, these are the tailored multi-step interfaces built for specific company needs, have increased 19x year to date.
19 times.
But here's the most telling sign that this is becoming standard. 20% of all enterprise messages are now processed via a custom GPT or a project.
1 in 5.
1 in 5 interactions is no longer experimental. It's a formalized, standardized workflow being run by an agent.
That is a massive shift from just playing around with AI to adopting it as a fundamental part of the business process. And this growth is global. It's not just a Silicon Valley thing.
The competitive sprint is fully globalized. Yes, the tech sector is leading with 11x growth, but high-stakes industries like healthcare and manufacturing are accelerating fast. They see the gains in R&D and supply chain optimization.
And internationally.
The adoption rates are surging. Australia saw a 187% increase in paying business customers over the last year. Brazil is right behind at 161%, then the Netherlands, France. This should tell every aspiring entrepreneur that your competitors in other countries are moving just as fast as the ones next door.
Okay, let's get into the case studies. This is where it gets real. This shows the listener where the action is and, maybe more importantly, where the new market gaps are starting to emerge.
Let's start with customer service. The human-handled support call is notoriously expensive. We're talking upwards of $5 to $20 per interaction.
Right.
So Intercom, which is a major customer engagement platform, built a product called FinVoice on OpenAI's real-time API. They designed this agent to handle complex voice interactions instantly.
And what was the outcome? What did it do?
2 huge things. First, they dramatically reduce latency. That's the awkward delay between when a customer speaks and the AI responds by 48%. It feels much more natural.
Yeah.
But more importantly, the agent resolves 53% of all calls end-to-end with 0 human intervention.
Half of all calls are fully automated.
For a company handling millions of calls, this efficiency saves their customers hundreds of millions of dollars annually. That cost saving is a massive competitive advantage.
And we're seeing smaller, more specialized agents do this in retail too, right?
Yeah.
Companies like Maven AGI and Yuma AI.
Yes. Yuma AI is a great example. It integrates directly with platforms like Shopify and with fulfillment APIs. It can instantly respond to open cases across chat, email, social media, and it handles order support, returns, and refunds automatically.
So the solo founder who's running a successful direct-to-consumer brand can essentially outsource their entire customer support department to a single agent.
For a fraction of the cost of one human employee, and it runs 247.
The gains are just as dramatic in the back office functions, like finance and compliance.
Take BBVA in Mexico. They built a legal AI chatbot for a very mundane but legal critical process, validating corporate signatory authority.
So checking who has permission to sign documents.
Exactly. It used to rely on specialist legal teams and created huge delays. This agent now automates more than 9,000 of those queries every year.
And what does that allow them to do?
By automating those low-value, high-volume tasks, they redeployed the equivalent of 3 full-time employees, 3 FTEs to higher-value strategic legal work.
That's 3 major salaries, plus benefits, plus overhead, that are now either pure cost savings or capital they can reinvest. That's how you get to a 37% lower operational cost.
And we see in legal review, too. The agent Harvey can scrutinize these massive legal contracts for pitfalls, conflicting dates, regulatory gaps. It's reducing document review time by an estimated 80%.
Imagine the compliance costs that just vanish overnight for a small financial advisory firm using that.
Or a startup like Billick. It uses its agent, Neo, not just to flag fraud, but to automatically compile the entire case package with all the supporting transaction data for human review. That used to be the primary, tedious job of a whole team of compliance officers.
Even really complex scientific work is changing. You mentioned Moderna's R&D process.
Right, they have to draft something called a target product profile, or TPP. It used to take weeks of reviewing these massive 300-page evidence packs.
And now?
Moderna reports that a core analytical step in this process has been reduced from weeks to just a few hours. They are gaining days, which translates directly into accelerated product development timelines. When time to market is everything, that gain is priceless.
So the key takeaway here, the big pattern, is the shift in who performs these technical tasks. It's no longer just the siloed specialists.
Exactly. The data indicates a very clear trend. Coding and analytical tasks are increasingly being done outside of traditional specialist roles. There's a 36% average increase in coding-related messages coming from people who aren't in engineering, IT, or research departments.
So the marketing person is running their own code.
The marketing person, the finance person, the operations manager, these AI agents are expanding the capabilities of non-technical teams, enabling them to execute technical requirements themselves. It massively reduces the reliance on internal silos and bottlenecks.
So this combination of powerful agents and democratized tools, it feeds directly into the solo founder boom.
Directly. Solo entrepreneurship is thriving. We're talking over 41.8 million individuals in the U.S. alone, contributing over $1.3 trillion to the economy. It is a massive economic force.
But, and this is a really critical moment of friction we have to acknowledge, in the old model, this success comes at a brutal human cost.
It does.
We tend to glamorize the hustle culture of the solo founder, but the reality is just grueling.
Yeah.
The data shows 54% of founders experience burnout in the last 12 months. 65% report feeling overwhelmed on a regular basis.
That isolation, that feeling of constantly wearing a dozen different hats is what kills speed and quality. Solo founders are 23% more likely to fail than teams with co-founders.
Why?
It's largely due to exhaustion and context switching. They spend their entire days cycling from product development to marketing, then to accounting, then customer service. That constant mental whiplash is what destroys creativity and focus.
That context switching, that's the real enemy of speed and growth. And this is precisely why new platforms like Tonka are emerging as this essential AI co-founder solution.
Tonka, with its EverMemo system, is designed specifically to eliminate that context switching by providing comprehensive business support with that persistent memory we talked about.
Okay, so let's get practical here. I'm a founder. Why does the AI remembering my past decisions actually make a difference in my day-to-day?
It's the difference between starting every single conversation from scratch and having a co-founder who's been with you for years and remembers everything.
Okay.
For instance, let's say last week you asked the agent to research a new regulatory change in California. This week you ask it to draft a partnership agreement. A traditional chatbot would need you to upload all those regulatory notes again.
You'd have to re-explain the whole context.
Right. But EverMemos automatically captures and stores every important conversation, every decision, every legal note. It remembers the context.
So as the founder, I could just say, draft the agreement in compliance with those California rules we discussed last week, and the AI can just execute. It doesn't need the full briefing again.
Exactly. It eliminates the need for you, the founder, to constantly repeat yourself, which is the very definition of that context switching drag we talked about.
It's like having an assistant with a perfect memory.
The CEO of Tanka, Kissin Lin, described it as giving startups the co-founder they always wanted. One that never forgets, never sleeps, and is totally focused on solving their toughest challenges, like providing tailored fundraising support based on all their historical financial models.
This technological leap allows a single visionary to achieve the scale of an enterprise. And that brings us to the most provocative prediction in this entire space: the emergence of the one-person unicorn.
Made by Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he predicted that the first one-person billion-dollar company will appear by 2026 to 2028.
A billion-dollar valuation, driven by a team of one human and a stack of AI agents. I mean, it genuinely sounds like science fiction.
It does, but the mechanism is now totally clear. What once required a dedicated team of 50 people handling marketing, full-stack development, customer service, compliance, all of that can now be executed by one visionary and a comprehensive suite of AI agents.
And this isn't just a future prediction.
No. Solo founders today are already building lean, profitable companies generating millions in revenue. They are proving that this model works and that it's scaling rapidly.
And this changes the founder's role entirely. It creates this new organizational structure you've called the CVO AI hybrid model.
Right. The human founder stops being the CEO, the chief executive officer, who is focused on control, management, day-to-day operations. And instead, they become the chief visionary officer, the CVO.
I really like that distinction. So the CVO focuses only on setting the direction, defining the goals, making the big strategic decisions.
Handling the key human relationships, providing the unique creative spark, the secret sauce that actually differentiates the brand, all the high-leverage work.
And while the human CVO is focused on that vision, the AI ecosystem acts as the virtual C-suite and all the operational teams.
This is where the depth of the agent model really comes into play. Agents now fill roles like the AI Chief Strategy Officer, providing advanced reasoning, scenario planning, and market analysis based on real-time data ingestion.
So what about the most expensive hire for any startup? The technical lead.
Yeah.
That can be replaced too.
Yes. You have the AI Chief Technology Officer, which can handle full-stack development, system architecture, quality assurance. This agent can write, test, and debug code with very high reliability.
And marketing.
You have the AI Chief Marketing Officer. It's responsible for content creation, SEO optimization, and running multivariate campaign tests across different platforms instantly, something a human team would take weeks to do.
Even the really precise, highly regulated roles of finance are covered.
Absolutely. The AI Chief Financial Officer can handle complex financial modeling, forecasting, tax prep, and real-time budget tracking. The founder just provides the strategic input. We need to grow revenue by 20% next quarter. And the AI CFO executes the complex modeling required to visualize that goal.
Now, to make this blueprint a reality, the sources are really clear that successful solo founders don't just use one tool. They integrate and stack specialized tools together.
Yes, the automation stack is what defines the modern solopreneur. Let's list the essential components that the reports highlighted.
Okay, let's run through them.
For general organization and internal knowledge management, platforms like Notion AI are crucial for writing, summarizing, and organizing everything inside the workspace.
For the heavy lifting.
You need a powerful general-purpose LLM like ChatGPT or Claude. Claude is particularly good at handling and summarizing massive, long documents like legal briefs or dense market research reports, which can free up hours of review time.
What about the front office? Things like sales.
For sales, you have specialized agents like Lavender. It doesn't just draft emails, it scores and improves the tone, the clarity, and the effectiveness of your outbound sales communication to get better conversion rates.
Right.
For competitive research and lead gen, tools like Browse AI allow non-coders to automate data scraping and monitor what their competitors are doing on public websites.
So that completely eliminates the need to hire a full-time business analyst for market intelligence.
Precisely. And for just launching fast, you look at a tool like Durable. It can build a viable startup website, complete with optimized copy and layout in less than a minute.
So successful founders are wiring 4 or 5 of these specialized tools together.
Yes, using low-code automation platforms to handle what used to require a small human team. This allows them to focus almost exclusively on that high-leverage visionary work instead of getting bogged down in administrative busy work.
Okay, so we've painted this picture of the promised land. The efficient, lean, highly profitable CVO AI hybrid model. But this success story forces us to look at the pressure point. If this CVO model is the ultimate adaptive strategy, what happens to all the businesses that refuse to take this journey?
This acceleration is creating a very harsh binary outcome, and we have to talk about the AI resistors.
This skeptical, slow-moving businesses.
The ones that are waiting to see how things play out, clinging to the old ways of hiring and operating, they are facing rapid obsolescence, not some gradual decline.
And why is it so rapid?
Because they cannot possibly match the price or the speed of their AI-forward competitors. We already went through the data. When your operational costs are 37% lower as an adopter, the resistor cannot compete on price long-term without just hemorrhaging money. Their entire business model is structurally less efficient.
And it's not just about cost. There's a fundamental and, I think, irreversible shift in what customers expect.
Yes, this is a huge point. Once a customer experiences instant 247 personalized service from an AI-forward vendor,
Whether that's a hyper-targeted ad or an instant resolution to a shipping problem.
right, once they experience that, they now expect that level of seamless, immediate service from everyone else.
Which means if you're the accounting firm still responding during business hours, or the e-commerce store that takes 48 hours to resolve a refund, you're instantly the outdated option.
Your service feels slow, it feels expensive, and it feels impersonal by comparison.
And this leads to a pretty uncomfortable truth that's articulated in the sources.
Which is that 82% of small businesses surveyed said AI adoption is essential to stay competitive.
Think about that implication for a second. If you choose not to adopt AI, you are essentially betting the entire future of your business that 82% of your market competitors are completely wrong about the foundational strategy for survival.
It's a terrible bet. It's a losing bet.
So the binary outcome is undeniable. The AI adopters pull ahead dramatically while the resistors get squeezed out, and we are currently in the most critical phase of this whole transition.
The 24 to 36-month window, what we're calling the adoption race phase.
The race is on.
And the data confirms it's well underway. 68% of small businesses are already using AI tools. That is a steep, steep climb from where we were just 2 years ago.
And the remaining 32%, the resistors, are falling behind more dramatically every single month.
And it's not a linear gap. This is what's crucial to understand. The gap widens exponentially.
So why is it so much harder for the late adopter to catch up?
Because the first movers are accumulating 3 essential compounding advantages. First, they are learning faster. Their agents are interacting with 7x more data and optimizing their processes much more quickly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, they are accumulating specialized data. They are constantly feeding their proprietary knowledge and client interactions back into their agents' persistent memory. This makes their AI custom-tailored and way smarter than any generic model.
And third?
They are refining workflows. They have already standardized their AI-driven processes, which means their efficiency is baked into their organizational DNA. It's just how they operate.
So if you launch a business today, you're not just competing against a future version of AI.
Yeah.
You're competing against a competitor who has already had 24 months to custom train their virtual C-suite on their own proprietary data.
That's it, exactly. The businesses that move fast in this 24 to 36-month window will absolutely determine their fate by 2030.
Because what happens after that window closes?
By 2028 to 2030, we enter what's called the consolidation phase.
And in that phase, AI adoption is no longer a competitive advantage.
It becomes table stakes. It's just the baseline expectation, like having a website and an email address is today. The competitive edge shifts entirely from having AI to having the best AI strategy and the most refined, specialized internal processes.
No one will be talking about AI adoption then.
No, because everyone will have already adopted it years prior.
Now, one of the most encouraging elements of this whole transformation, and I think it's important to highlight, is that AI is leveling the playing field for people who were traditionally locked out of the old system.
Yes, that is the democratization of success we touched on earlier.
So what does that look like?
AI is functioning as an equalizer for capital, for expertise, and for networks. The data shows that women now represent 49% of all new businesses being started, and they're achieving enterprise scale with lower overhead.
That's incredible.
Similarly, underrepresented groups are actually leading in AI adoption. They're aggressively leveraging these tools to bypass traditional barriers, like limited access to seed funding or those old restrictive industry networks.
And it's not just young tech-native founders driving this, right?
Not at all. We are seeing a significant number of experienced professionals in their 40s and 50s starting second careers. They're combining decades of deep domain expertise with these powerful, affordable AI tools.
They see the writing on the wall.
They recognize that their established large employers are not adapting fast enough, and they are seizing the opportunity to build the next generation of businesses themselves.
So with all this dramatic structural change, and with a clear competitive clock ticking down, the question for every learner preparing their action plan is, where are the new market gaps? If I'm going to start a business or transform my current one, where do the lucrative opportunities actually lie right now?
Okay, so despite the rapid growth, the sources identify significant untapped potential. And the key is not to focus on building generalist tools. The big players have that covered.
So what's the strategy?
You target specialized verticals and niche B2B SaaS solutions. Specifically, tools designed to help other small businesses implement this agentic revolution. We've identified 12 major opportunities, but let's dive into the most critical ones.
Okay, let's start with one that offers immediate operational leverage for a solo founder.
That would be AI-powered workflow automation platforms. This whole sector is expected to grow 23% annually.
And this is more than just scheduling software.
Much more. These platforms help solopreneurs automate everything from client follow-ups and invoicing to specialized task routing based on which channel a message came from. A small consulting firm can use these to eliminate all their administrative overhead, freeing up their staff for billable hours.
That's a direct path to that 40% productivity gain we talked about.
The most direct path. Second opportunity, something that helps the CVO AI model execute its strategy. AI-driven, personalized marketing agencies.
So using AI to do marketing better.
These agencies use the agent C-suite to analyze massive pools of customer data and create hyper-targeted, predictive campaigns that adjust in real time. Because of the cost reduction, small businesses can now afford a level of hyper-personalization that used to be reserved for global brands.
Which allows them to carve out and dominate very specific market niches.
Exactly. Third, and this is highly relevant given the rise of sophisticated digital threats, we have to talk about AI-powered cybersecurity and fraud detection services.
A huge growth area.
The digital threat environment is so complex now that small businesses need access to enterprise-grade security at affordable subscription rates. The cybersecurity AI market is projected to hit $46 billion by 2025.
So what's the opportunity there for a startup?
You can build bespoke, AI-powered defensive agents that monitor transactions, flag anomalous behavior, and automatically quarantine threats far faster than any human security team could. This is a non-negotiable expense for every modern business.
Okay, fourth, let's target that administrative elimination we discussed.
AI, business operations, and analytics SaaS. The market data shows 58% of SMBs are actively seeking these tools in 2025. These are the tools that go beyond a simple spreadsheet.
Right.
They use proprietary AI to synthesize complex operational data inventory levels, customer lifetime value, churn rates, and present actionable insights without requiring a data scientist on staff.
This gives the solo founder that real-time strategic awareness.
Exactly. Let's look at two high-stakes specialized verticals that are just demanding automation right now.
Go for it.
Fifth is AI-driven legal and compliance assistance. These are the specialized agents like the ones we saw at BBVA or Harvey, but scaled down for the solo practitioner or the small business.
So they automate contract analysis, compliance checks.
Instant legal research. They dramatically reduce legal costs and minimize risk. The need for specialized, affordable legal risk mitigation is massive for any small business dealing with contracts or customer data.
And the sixth, and this is maybe the most forward-looking opportunity, Full-stack AI startups.
This is the most ambitious niche. We are talking about entirely new companies built from the ground up where every single employee is an AI agent or a robot.
So an entirely automated micro law firm.
Or an AI-run health clinic, or a fully automated financial planning service. This niche is projected to be worth over $200 billion by 2033, specifically because it operates with near-zero labor costs and therefore achieves some of the highest profit margins in the entire tech ecosystem.
Okay, so we've identified a very clear path to building a profitable, scalable business. But the sources also point out that this new automated world is not without its significant challenges and structural risks.
Absolutely not, and solo founders especially need to be aware of these.
The first major risk is perhaps the most fundamental one: infrastructure control risk.
Right. The cost of AI training and computation is growing exponentially. And crucially, the underlying compute infrastructure, the chips, the servers, the APIs, is controlled by a tiny handful of massive companies.
Microsoft, Google, Amazon, OpenAI.
Exactly. So entrepreneurs are, in effect, renting this infrastructure.
So if you build your billion-dollar one-person company entirely on a rented API, you are fundamentally exposed to the whims of big tech.
Completely exposed. They own the factory, they can change the rental terms or just raise the prices at any time.
Or worse.
Or worse. They can choose to favor their own in-house products or restrict access to their newest, most powerful models. This creates a new form of dependency, often called platform risk, where your entire competitive advantage is built on infrastructure you do not control.
So you need a contingency plan.
You must have a contingency plan for that structural vulnerability. The second risk, and this is crucial for the listener to internalize, is legal and ethical liability.
So if an AI agent makes a mistake, a harmful decision,
Let's say a medical AI diagnoses incorrectly, or an automated finance agent flags a legitimate transaction as fraud, causing a huge loss for a customer. Who is responsible?
and the answer is,
The experts are unanimous on this. A human being in that organization will be held accountable. You cannot just point the finger at the AI and remove all human blame.
the legal system isn't designed to sue an algorithm.
No, they will sue the founder, the CVO.
So this means that while AI agents increase efficiency, they also increase the need for absolute transparency and auditability. You need to be able to trace what the AI did and why.
Precisely. In high-stakes industries like finance and healthcare, you need meticulous audit logs to trace every single action the agent takes. That human accountability is the essential muscle memory the CVO must retain, even if the AI is running 99% of the operation.
Third, we have the ongoing data concerns. This is a huge operational challenge.
Data privacy and security are still top concerns. 44% of entrepreneurs are worried about protecting their proprietary data when they feed it into a large language model.
And the models still make things up.
They do. They hallucinate. And they can produce very generic, bland output. 50% of surveyed entrepreneurs cited generic output as a top concern, and 39% reported that heavy editing is almost always required. You can't just press generate and walk away.
The human CVO still has to provide that final quality control and that unique creative spark.
And finally, the sources note that the primary constraint on growth is often not the technology itself, it's organizational readiness.
What does that mean?
The leading firms are consistently integrating AI deeply into their core systems. They're turning on the secure connectors to give AI access to sensitive company data. The laggards just struggle to take this foundational step.
They're afraid to let the AI in.
They're afraid. Roughly 1 in 4 enterprises still has not secured their data and connected it to their AI infrastructure. So the constraint is no longer model performance, it's the organization's ability to deeply integrate AI without fear. And that is a cultural and a leadership challenge.
So after all of that, what does this all mean? What's the final takeaway for you listening to this as you navigate this phase change?
The entrepreneurship paradox is, I think, the single most defining feature of our current economy. AI is a tool of destruction for those legacy employment structures, the slow, administrative, expensive jobs.
Right.
But it is simultaneously the most powerful tool of creation ever conceived for agile, AI-native businesses.
And the next 24 to 36 months are that critical leverage window. This is the time to capitalize on this phase change and build those foundational compounding competitive advantages.
The winners will be those who adopt AI aggressively. who use agents to achieve enterprise scale as a solo founder or a small team, who effectively turn themselves into the chief visionary officer of an AI-powered enterprise.
We've seen that the divide between the leaders and the laggards is just widening dramatically.
The data shows that frontier firms are generating 7 times more messages to custom GPTs than the median firm. That indicates a far deeper organizational integration and a compounding advantage that is becoming exponentially harder to match.
So here's the final provocative thought for you. If you are not aggressively using AI to define your business workflows and processes today, are you still running a modern business? Or are you operating a historical artifact, just waiting to be disrupted?
If you wait another 6 months to start learning and integrating these tools, you have already burned 25% of your competitive advantage in this critical adoption race phase. That's the hard question you have to answer for yourself.
And whether you decide to stay employed and become an AI champion inside your existing organization, or you jump into entrepreneurship and found an AI-native company.
You need to understand your competitive position. You have to know your vulnerability score in this new economic landscape.
So join us next time for episode 6, the immunity test calculate your exact automation risk score. We will provide the comprehensive framework to assess your current job security and your competitive standing within the employment structures that remain.
You need to know exactly how much time you have left to adapt. Don't miss it.
Thanks for listening. Join us next time on Surviving AI.